Welcome back to the 52 Weeks of Wealth. This is Wealth Principle 41. We have been traveling through the wealth principles for the last 41 weeks, and Wealth Principle 41 is change your environment, because environment is stronger than willpower. You've heard in the past that willpower is so strong, the person became successful because they had such a strong will. But the truth is that their environment was actually what forced them into that situation. Before we get started, who here is a real estate investor looking to make more money this year? Doubling their income, doubling their net worth? Yes, excellent. Who wants to do it with less work, less effort? Excellent, excellent. Then this wealth principle is the one to pay attention to, at least for this week, until next week's wealth principle. But this is the one that is, I would say, the highest leverage point. Once you change your environment, it will practically force you to take the right actions. A story that goes into play for me is early in my business, early in my career, I recognized that every so often I wasn't getting things that I knew were really important to do. Hands to the camera if you have things that you know would be money-making activities. You know that would make you successful if you just did them more often. Excellent. So for some of us, those would be phone calls. For some of us, those would be door knocking, or it would be a text sent out. Typically, it's a high leverage point. The highest income earners are leveraging other people. The word is OPT, other people's time. In real estate, we talk a lot about OPM. Hands to camera if you know what OPM stands for. You can drop it in the chat. It stands for other people's money. Other people's money, which we use a lot in real estate. But to get to the next level, we actually use OPT. You know, the contractors that go out and do all of the work for us. In the beginning, a lot of real estate investors, I'm hoping it's not you, but I know me when I started, I was doing a lot of my own work. I would swing the hammer, I would lay down the carpets, I would paint the rooms, I would fix the sinks, I would replace all the lights, I would replace all the switches. I'd be doing all of the work because it felt like I was saving money, but I was wasting time. The true asset in life is time. So if we can create an environment, which we'll talk about in a little bit later, if you can create an environment that forces you to be more efficient and effective with your time, then you're going to have more results. Because as I've mentioned before, it is about speed to the million. The faster you make the million, the more you get to invest that million in other assets. The more that million gets to compound, the longer it gets to compound. Compound interest is the ninth wonder of the world. If you can get money working for you, you don't have to work for money. And scam, if you recognize that most poor people are obsessed with money, absolutely obsessed. Has anybody noticed that? They work 40 hours a week, hate their job, but they can't quit. They can't leave because they need to go back to work again for more money. And if you ask them, why are you working so hard to become successful? Why are you doing so? Why are you making more than $1 million right now? Why do you keep going for the next million or the next million? Or if you're still just making 100,000, they're like, why are you going for $250,000? Isn't $100,000 enough to live off of? It's because in their mind, they've been sold the lie that you have to work for money, that you need money to live. Now, it's true that money makes things a lot easier, but we've seen the hippies not living on money, right? They have no money and they live off the land. We've seen the yogis, right? The master yogis who are just living off of, peace and love and good affirmations and helping other people. And they just seem to get by without ever having any cash. So there are these abilities for us to live on this planet without money. But in order to have massive impact, in order to have a lifestyle of choice, of being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, money is a resource. Money is energy. It allows you to transfer with strangers. Who knows that you get the family discount when you work with friends and family? Has anybody seen that? So that's one way to get the things that you want, is build a good, deep rapport with people who have what you want. And then you can simply transact, bartering. So you don't need money to do things, but money allows you to operate with strangers who have things that you want and operate quickly. Money also allows you to buy other people's time, OPT. So when I was doing all the work myself, it was because it was all I had up here. My environment said work. My environment said do the things. I had the tools, right? Having the tools around my house made it easier for me to just go and physically do stuff. It wasn't until I got rid of my tools and I no longer had the ability. I got rid of my truck. I got rid of my tools and I changed my physical environment. It would be more work for me to go get the tools to do the job than it would be for me to pick up a phone and send somebody over to take a look. who already had the tools, who had the truck, who had the abilities. And by changing my environment, by changing the ease to my old program, my ease to my old habit, I had to create a new routine. I had to create a new way of doing things because it became too laborsome for me to go back and do work myself. Hands to the camera if you can recognize that would be a very quick change. And there are other things in your life right now that you're making way too easy. How about the simple one that everybody has at some point experienced in their house, in their life, is that vice that you have, right? Whether it's the chips, everybody has something. There's something in your house. It could be wine, it could be alcohol, it could be snacks or fruit or whatever it is that you're supposed to be avoiding. And I say fruit because there is a lot of sugar in certain fruits. And the potato chips, right? This is one that gets me. If the chips aren't in the house, I don't eat the chips. If the chips are in the house, I'm gonna eat chips. It's part of nature. So when we remove bad things from our environment, suddenly we can replace them with good positive things. When there's sticks of celery in the fridge and I'm looking for that little snack, I tend not to eat a snack anymore. I'm just like, I don't even want to deal with celery until I get hungry enough to go, and I'll go do something healthy, and I'll chop up the celery and then I'll go and I'll eat that during a movie or something. Has anybody noticed that? This is probably true for you too. You've seen one of these? Awesome. So we have these in our business all over the place. In your business right now, there are bad elements. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. This is a statement I learned from a book called The One Thing. Gary Keller wrote the book, and he was talking about how his environment itself was actually creating his results. It wasn't necessarily his willpower, because if you notice, willpower, we only get about 2 good hours of it per nap. 2 good hours per nap of willpower. And then after that, it starts to go down. It starts to degrade. In fact, they found that judges in courts, after 12 o'clock, the odds of you getting your case approved went down dramatically. I can't remember the numbers, but I want to say it was almost 40%. That after lunch, after 12, after they'd gone and eaten, they'd lost some of their willpower, and suddenly it was negative charges for everybody. It was just, you know what, I'm not going to go through it, whatever, just pass it through. Now, I don't want to judge the judge system, but wouldn't it make more sense to keep a judge in strong willpower, still deep dive into their cases so that you'll work out a better situation for yourself? But that's not common sense. Like, it's not common sense. It's not understood by the common people. And so there's systems all over the place where people are running out of willpower and they're not willing to go that extra mile. But we have it in our own lives. Willpower is a finite resource. It does improve after we've taken a nap. After you take some rest or you sleep, your willpower does recharge. So we can recharge it, but most people do not. Now, the environment itself will force you to do things. If willpower can't be relied on in the moment, in the sale, say you're taking appointments later on in the afternoon. Who here has ever gone to a listing or a seller appointment in the afternoon and noticed that they were a little more tired than if you'd gone early in the morning? Right? Early in the morning is the absolute best time for negotiations, or post nap is the best time for negotiations. Obviously, give yourself a little time to warm up from sleeping. That first 15 minutes, no willpower. It's very interesting. Has anybody noticed that the first 15 minutes of being awake, there's literally, do not ask them to make any decisions. It's not going to be good. But after that 15 minutes, once your mind starts going, maybe 30 minutes into it, you get to what we call a peak state. You're finally in this high energy, you're fully rested, you're thinking about things, you're operating very cleanly, very smoothly, and you're running on all cylinders. We want you making decisions in that state of mind. So I'm not going to say or encourage take naps, but that is one extra piece that can improve your life, is allow some space, allow some time for a recharge in the day. Allow some time, even a meditation session to clear your mind is the same effectiveness of taking a nap. So if you're one of those people who doesn't have time or space to take naps, then allow yourself a 15-minute to a 20, 30-minute meditation session. And this is not a meditation session to think of things. It's a meditation session to remove thoughts from your mind. Write that down. It's something that removes thoughts from your mind. There are other meditations where focusing on a desire or a goal or an ambition, and those are powerful and they're used for a different space. But for willpower recharges, meditation to release and let go of thoughts. Hands to the camera if we understand that there's a difference in meditations. Excellent. All right, so that's how you get your willpower back. But what if you wanted something that would ensure your willpower was there all the time, or at least you didn't need it? You didn't need to use the willpower. You could just operate off of, even in your worst willpower state, you'd still make the right decisions. Who thinks that's a great tool to use? Excellent. We all operate in a space. We're operating in a space at all times. And that space, believe it or not, is not common sense. It's right here. This is the space. This is where you operate. At any given point in the day, you're on your cell phone. This is where you spend more time than any other atmosphere or environment, your cell phone and your computer. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's true. Screen time in America right now is 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours. Every single day, people are spending in the screen, eyes on screen, which means that your environment is not what it used to be. It's not the office, although yes, the office is powerful, and we're going to talk about some ways you can improve your environment in your office, but this is how you double your income. Taking right action. Right action is the only way to increase your income. You've got to increase the value of your action, not necessarily the amount of actions done, but the quality of each action. And what I mean by that is if you want to make $1 million in one deal, one simple emphasis, one thing, go after a $5 million property that is purchased for $4 million, right? Or go after a $6 million property that you purchased for $5 million, or go after a $10 million property that you purchased for $9 million. That's one phone call. It's one phone call, one offer, one activity. Now you could also do the volume game, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like doing a lot of complex things. I like doing a lot of simple things like conversations, simple things like building systems that never have to be done again. But if you had to do the volume game, you'd have to do, I don't know, we'll say 20 flips. Hands to the camera if you know the average flips anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000 profit right now. So you'd have to be doing 20 to 40 flips in order to make that same $1 million. The environment you're hanging around with up here, the audiobooks you're listening to, the podcasts you're listening to, if you're listening to guys who are like volume flippers, you're going to only know the volume flip game. That's all you're going to think about is I got to flip more. I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. But if you're listening to education and podcasts or books, or you've got affirmations that you're going through in your mind or on your phone that are talking about do one deal, do a bigger deal, right? Go and do something better. Do the same thing you've been doing, do it on a bigger scale, do it in a better way so that you can make more money from less work. See, I'm not of the school of doing more for the sake of doing more. I believe that there's plenty of people who can do those beginner deals. Going and doing the bigger, better deals are going to make you a lot more money. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's true. All right. Who'd like to do an exercise for environment to improve their environment? Hands to the camera if you are ready to do an exercise, a life-changing exercise that will have an impact for the entire rest of your life. The first thing that you have to do in both physical locations. So if you want to clean up your office, by the way, this works every 3 months. I like to clean up, change something about my office. Change your environment, results will show. Even if you just change your environment with a new intention, you can have the same office, just move things around, but have a different intention of the office. You will have a different experience going forward. This is why with drug addicts, they'll actually move them to locations they've never lived in before so that they can create new habits in a new location. Remove your friends, remove the friends that you've been hanging out with because your friends are attached to old habits as well, subliminally. Did you know that you are the average of your 5 closest friends? Hands to the camera if you've heard this before. Excellent. So we're going to do an exercise that we're going to change our friends. So write down the income level that you would like. The income level that you would like. We're not going to talk about the past friends. That's just going to show you what you've already done. That's the exercise a lot of people walk you through. I don't like that one because that's just strengthening the past. Hands to the camera if you know we don't want to strengthen the past. We want to go towards something new. So write down the income level that you would like, the ideal income level. And then underneath it, I want you to write 5 lines. 5 lines. And this is a homework session. This is homework. Under those 5 lines, these are my friends. So first, the income level you're looking for, 5 blank lines. And then underneath that, these are my new friends. This is your affirmation. These are my new friends.
Yeah, I texted.
This week, I want you to, it's all good, Terry. This week, I want you to go out and ask as many people as you have to what their income level is, what they earned the last 2 years, what the average income is, or what they intend to earn this year, but be very careful with intention. A lot of people intend to be a millionaire, but they never make it. It's all about what they have done. With this particular instance, it's what have they already done, because you're looking to attract existing mindset, existing network, existing philosophies. So as you're going through this week, I want you to be looking for, asking people what their income level is. This is going to be outside of the box. You're not going to be comfortable here. And if you are, awesome, excellent. But ask people what their income is and write it down on the list. Write down this person income. If they're under the mark you're looking for, if they're far enough under the mark, maybe 10, 20% under, this is somebody that you do not want to spend a massive amount of time with. They can be a client, absolutely. You can work with them, but you want to be aiming, reaching up. This is a very, very important principle. You're going to be changing your environment by identifying these 5 people. The next step underneath this is, how can I spend more time with them? How can I spend more time with them? What do we do together? Could be the sentence you put underneath this. The other way to look at this is, what do they do? What do they do? How can I do more of what they're doing? Whether it's their free time, they're having fun, or it's their business. Another mistake that I've seen made is people think that, okay, this person golfs a lot, I got to go golf with them. It could be easier just to start doing business with them. When I identified high earning real estate investors, I started finding them deals. When I identified high earning real estate agents, I started sending them leads. I would connect with them, find a way to add value to their existing business. So they then invited me out to their different social events, their networking events, or their golfing events. Does that make sense? We can earn while we connect with these higher level people. The first time I did this, I was with Tom Caffarella, and I just looked him in the eyes. I never said a word to him, but I was thinking, I was like, dude, I'm gonna make you so rich. I'm gonna be your top agent. I want to be the guy who brings you all the deals, who closes all the deals that you send me out on. And I held that thought so powerfully in my head, to the point where we were on a texting relationship. Even now, if I message him, he'll respond back. And he's a very, very busy entrepreneur, very busy investor who does over 100 flips a year, 100 purchases, flips. He's doing big, massive deals. But in the beginning, I was just another one of his 300 agents. No reason to have a conversation with me. Does that make sense? So don't worry about what exists currently or your past. We're talking about the future here. This is changing your environment in a very, very powerful way. The other thing I led up to was that your cell phone is where you spend most of your time. Now, before we get to the cell phone, your office, where you spend your working hours, how is your office empowering you or disempowering you? When you sit down at your desk, does it encourage you to do tasks that cost money or make money? When I say cost money, I mean waste time, right? If you're not efficient with your time, you're actually losing money. You're spending just time that could have been valued earning money. So be very, very cautious with how your desk is set up, with how your room is set up, with where the lighting is. If you're constantly adjusting things, this is a waste of time. If the scenery that you're looking at around or on your desktop screens or on your desk is creating confusions, creating anxiety, is creating a mess in your head, it's going to slow you down. If the activity your desk is set up for is not an empowering activity, then it's going to take time away from you. Is this making sense? I'll give you an example. I've seen people who have multiple tabs open on their screens. We as human beings can only do one thing at a time. We don't have the ability to multitask. We don't. That fallacy has been out there for a long time. Multiple tabs. I can understand, because I operate with 3 monitors, I can understand having 3 things open if 2 are reference points and 1 is an activity space. Sometimes I'll blog and I'll pull up multiple information and I'll reference back, and that's okay, because you need those references to go and take activity. But if you're having, let's say your credit report is up, your crypto account is up, your stock account is up, you're researching 3 different topics for 3 different elements, and you're leaving them up because you need them later, you're hurting yourself mentally, you're slowing yourself down, you're not doing one task anymore. So a tool that I use is something called Evernote. Evernote is where I store all of my to-dos later, research I want to get into, topics I would like to know more about, tasks I have to do. And I'll take the link, drop it in there with a little description of what it is. And over time, you'll get a little more organized. You get research notes. You can have tasks that need to be completed. You can have high-level tasks, low-level tasks, money-earning tasks, relationship tasks. There's all sorts of things that we're constantly holding up on our screens and our phones that could be organized in a nice way so that when you have research time, you can go back and tackle it. Hence, the camp, you recognize this would save a ton of time. Absolutely. But the most valuable asset is your attention. If your attention is spent in powerful things, you're going to have powerful results. Now, the desk is amazing. I love my desk. I love it the way it's set up. My desk is an empowering desk for podcasting and creating content. I'm a content creator. It is my highest and best use, is create the assets that other people can leverage. My second most valuable asset, which I have mostly outsourced at this point, is putting the content where it can be seen. So if a tree falls in the woods and nobody is there to hear it, does it make a noise? Well, content is even more powerful. If you have the greatest video, the most epic, shareable, amazing content, and you put it nowhere, does it make a noise? Does it exist? Is it even real? If you go out to an amazing event, you have an amazing experience, you're networking with all of these people, but you didn't grab their contact information, did that event even happen? Not in my opinion. It's not real. So you have to have places to track contacts, and you have to have an environment that forces you to do the things that you know are the right things to do. As soon as I walk into my office, I see the desk set up for a podcast. I see the desk set up for recording content. The green screen's ready to go. Everything is lined up. The day before I line up, I write down the notes of what I'm going to talk about, and boom, I get in. The environment forces me to do what I'm supposed to do. Does that make sense? Excellent. What are my content creators? People who know they should be creating more content to get more influence for their business. Yes. More clients, more customers. Awesome. More sellers. Excellent. I have about 15 topics that I'm supposed to talk about any given day. They don't change. My topics of influence are the same every day. I just say them differently, or I create different ways of presenting them. But my 15 topics are always going to be the same. Those are in an Evernote. I can pull that up at any given time. But if I have to pull it up and I haven't decided the day before what I'm going to do, that takes time. So the day before, when I'm not creating content, I decide, what is my topic tomorrow? What are my 3 topics? And then bang through them as soon as I get to my desk. It makes a lot of sense for me. Hands to the camera, if you know, you could do this with your phone calls. You could do this with any aspect in your business, with the relationships you're supposed to be building, with if you're writing blogs, if you're calling contractors, if you've got all sorts of different things on your list, they're going to be a mess. But if you have them set up in an order, set up in an order of power, order of willpower as well, by the way, start the day with the most difficult task. Creating video is my most anxiety-inducing task that I do every day. So I start early. It's the first thing I did. This morning, I woke up at 7 o'clock. I went and I posted a bunch of reels. First thing I did, because that can be the most complex mind thing for me to do throughout the day. Most difficult energy consumer. I don't wait till the afternoon, because by then I might not do it. Hence, can't you know how that works. And if I do it, I might not have the same level of energy, the same thoughts. So environment is powerful. This cell phone constantly running at all times. Clear up your icons. I have icons on my phone that are my action money-making icons. I've identified them. They're page 1. Page 2, they're important icons, but they don't make me money. They recapture money, right? They're relationship building, they're follow-up. But if I had all my phone, front of my phone, all the messages that come through, all the emails that come through, all the phone calls that come through, dude, I would never get to anything important. I would never get to creating new contacts, new relationships. So the second page is where all of the follow-up stuff is. Now it's important, and I got to swipe over to get to the second page. But that is an intentional decision. It's a move to the next page of it's that time of day to follow up and respond to people. Is this making sense? Who has not done that? Who has literally the opposite on their phone? Where they get on the phone, and it's like all the problems right there, notifications immediately. Yeah. How crazy does that make you feel when you start the day and you're like, oh my God, so much shit to do, right?
It's suffocating.
It's suffocating. Absolutely. So if your environment is more powerful than willpower, there is one thing more powerful in your environment than any of the physical things that we just put out. It is the people in your life. We talked a little bit earlier about this task I want you to go out through and create for the rest of this week is find your ideal 5 people. The friends you're with, your business relationships, your spouse, your kids, those 5 relationships, the most powerful ones that you spend the most time with, who have influence over you, are going to dictate your income. They are going to decide how much you make. Those 5 relationships are the biggest single factor in your life about every aspect of your life. You've heard one of the wealth principles is how you do anything is how you do everything. Change the 5 people you hang with, and you will change your life entirely. Change the 5 people you look up to, admire, spend time with, love, appreciate, care about, and you will change your life entirely. It will be a completely different life. Within 6 months to a year, you will not recognize the past life, depending on how dramatic the changes and the people that you're connecting with. Hands to the camera if you know that's true. Excellent. So for everybody who has not been through the mentorship, who has not been through our Real Estate Alchemist mentorship program, you have no idea how amazing your life can be and how much change you can experience when you start hanging around people who are like-minded, people who are in the growth mindset, people who are supporting you, people who are looking to take you to the next level. For 8 weeks, we put you all together in a group, all people who've decided to change their lives at the same time for 8 weeks, start moving forward and taking the right actions. Hands to the camera if you are in the mentorship or are a graduate of the mentorship or you're in Alchemist Mastery. Awesome. Let's give our alchemists a round of applause. In this community, you put together deals. In the mentorship, you learn the habits, you learn the processes of being successful, and it takes 21 days to build habits. So we spend 60 days together. We make sure the first 21 days are learning the habits. The second 21 days are implementing the habits. And the third 21 days are ensuring that those are cemented into your mind, changing your environment so that your environment is more effective. We then jump on the 52 Weeks to Wealth every single Saturday to take in a new lesson, to spend time with our new friends. We have on this call multi-millionaires, millionaires. The coaches are people who have been successful in their business, successful in life, and many of them successful in their relationships. And we leverage spending time with them in these calls so that we can attract in almost through osmosis, gain some of their mindset. Hands to the camera if you know that's how it works. I remember listening to Bigger Pockets. I felt like Brandon Turner was my best friend, right? Because I'd heard him so many times, listened to what he was saying so many times, Brandon Turner and Josh Dorkin. I'd be like, man, like these guys are my new besties. That's why my income continuously grows, because I'm hanging out with people who are thinking bigger. I'm listening, even if I'm not physically hanging out with them, I am. I'm obsessed with. I know their lifestyle. I know what they're doing. I'm thinking about what they're doing. I'm learning what they're learning. Hands to the camera if you recognize this is how you build relationships with people who are way, way above you, unattainable for now, until they aren't, until you get to the point where you are able to attain those relationships. Hold those, because at some point you found a way to add value to them. Impossible to add value to people you haven't thought about. You want to make a lot of money, you got to commit to people. You want to make a whole lot of money, you got to commit to people who have a whole lot of money. It's the easiest path to increasing your income. Find somebody with a lot of money and serve them. Find somebody with a lot of money and a simple problem that you can solve, or a problem that can be learned how to be solved. Because people make more money, what are they looking for? OPT, other people's time. And they are willing to pay other people for their time. The more money a person has, the more time they want. It's not more money we're chasing. We're chasing more time. We're chasing better quality time with people that we love, people we care about, people who make us feel better, who inspire us. So if you haven't joined the mentorship yet, but you're looking to get more time back, more freedom, you're looking to get to the next level, Doreena's going to put her Calendly link in the chat. Schedule a conversation with her. Find out if the mentorship is right for you. And Doreen is very good at identifying people who don't want to make more. She says, nope, this isn't the one for you. People who don't want a better life, she's like, they're disqualified, not even interested. But if you want more, if you know you're capable of becoming a millionaire, or at least You want to become a millionaire. You have the desire. You have the ability to learn, a desire to learn. And you're willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable position, hanging out with new people, strangers. All the money I've ever earned came from strangers. And then they became friends. And then we built deeper relationships and build businesses together. So if you want to get to that point where you're in a very good community that is growing, that is expanding, that is building their wealth, doubling their income, doubling their worth, look no further. Join the mentorship. We're here for you. You can go to gualtermello.com/mentorship or mentor, and you can get access that way. But I'd strongly suggest have a conversation with Dorina, find out if it's right for you. Hands to the camera, if you know, Dorina is probably the sweetest person on the planet. She'll be honest with you. She'll tell you. Excellent. Now, every one of these lessons is attached to a book, and there's a very powerful book that I think most of us have read because we've all been in this community for a very long time now. We've gone through the 52 weeks. We've gone through the 52 books. This is our second time through it. Wealth Principle 41 is no stranger. Hands to the camera if you have already been through Wealth Principle 41 last year. If you already did this Wealth Principle with us, let's give our OGs, our original gangsters, a round of applause. You may be wondering, why do they do it twice? Well, because last year they were making 100,000. This year they're going after $250,000. Or last year they were earning $1 million. This year they're going after $2 million. Does that make sense? The wealth principles are principles of wealth. To get to a certain level, we had to apply them at a certain way. To get to the next level, we take the same principles and apply them at bigger scale with bigger teams, with bigger jobs, with bigger deals we're doing, and we apply those principles again. For this principle, changing our environment again, so that we can get it to the next level.